Hello guys, welcome to another video. First of all, and I said that this story doesn't belong to me, so if you read the full story for yourself, you can go down in the description to find the link to the original post and read the full story for yourself. That being said, let's get into the video. Legacy, Chapter 23 and Part 23. Clash of Titans. Arena, Naruto and Gaara were standing a few feet from each other. Each one of them had emotionless faces as they eyed and studied their opponent. The proctor had already started the match, but neither of them moved out of wanting to make any mistake. Even though Gaara knew that his sand would befriend him, he somehow knew that Naruto was strong. Gaara's mother, Ichibi or Shukaku, had warned Gaara to be careful about Naruto since he was also a Jinchuriki and had the Kyuubi, the strongest of the 9 Bijus. The silence in the arena was uncomfortable. There was no sound, no bird, no wind. The crowd itself was silent, watching what it was the most anticipated match since the first round. Want help? Kurama asked. No, I want to do this on my own. I just need a refill. Should I go empty? Naruto replied, making Kurama smirk at the devotion of his vessel in proving that he can be strong alone. Suddenly, a small breeze lifted up and signaled the start of the match. Gaara-san slowly started leaving his gourd on his back and started dancing around him. Gaara-san slowly started leaving his gourd on his back and started dancing around him. Naruto saw the sand starting to move and jumped back to gain some distance. Both of them were ready for their fight. Gaara already had his sand outside ready to crush our fellow blonde, and Naruto was watching it very careful with his Sharingan blazing. Gaara suddenly Gaara suddenly lost his head in pain, making Naruto raise an eyebrow to why suddenly Gaara would feel pain. It must be the Ichibi, Naruto thought as he watched Gaara clutching his head, trying to reveal his pain relieving his pain as best as he could. Just as it began, the pain suddenly stopped, and Gaara slowly raised his head to show Naruto his face blood, angry for blood. Prove my existence, Uzumaki! Gaara shouted and then poured a wave of sand towards Naruto, intending to crush him instantly. Naruto started evasion maneuvers and he watched the sand splitting into various waves, trying to outflank Naruto. However, Naruto's speed coupled with his Sharingan made sure Naruto could predict the path of each wave, making sure he would never be caught. It is a shame they removed the water from the previous match. Since I don't have an affinity towards water, I cannot use high-ranking moves without a water source nearby, Naruto thought as he kept dodging the sand. Let's see if his sand armor can keep up with me, Naruto thought as he disappeared in a burst of speed. Naruto quickly outmaneuvered the sand and slipped through it by ducking and sliding beneath the sand and delivered a good right hook into Gaara, sending him tumbling to the ground. Naruto watched as the sand that was used to attack quickly rushed to Gaara to absorb his impact. Naruto also noticed that the sand armor around Gaara's body itself was barely cracked and had already reformed. That thing is hard, Naruto thought as he analyzed it in details Gaara's sand armor, trying to find the best weakness. If he had the water, he could drench his sand with it, making it slower and more chakra demanding. However, that wasn't the case. Naruto channeled tweaked a few shurikens and threw them at Gaara from multiple angles, but the sand formed a round shell around him and blocked all of them. It seemed that his sand is automatic. It seems that His sand is automatic since some of the shurikens went to blind spot that Gaara couldn't see. Naruto thought as he watched Gaara drop his protective shield, making the shurikens fall to the ground. Let's test his strength. Naruto thought as he was about to pull his big gun to gradually try and penetrate his ultimate defense, lighting style, Shuriken's shadow clone. Naruto said and threw a single kunai towards Gaara and they multiplied into dozens. However, different from other times, these shurikens were charged with lightning chakra, and since lightning was strong against earth, it should work. It should work. Gaara brought his hand to block the shurikens, but was surprised when penetrated deeply into the sand, and he had to reinforce the wall of sand to keep the shurikens from hitting them. If they were made with chakra metal, they would have penetrated clearly through his defenses. Naruto thought. Gaara quickly dropped the shurikens into the ground and said sand bullets and sent multiple small round spears made of sand to Naruto at high speeds. Fire style, great fireball jutsu, Naruto said and exploded a fireball towards the incoming sand bullets, completely disintegrating them. Fire style, dragon fire jutsu. Dragon Fire Jutsu, Naruto said, and he flashed through Hansel's and sent a stream of fire towards Gaara, who used a wall of sand to shield the flames. The stream of fire collided with the sand all, and the heat created from the clash transformed the sand into crystal glass, effectively disabling the sand that was used to block Naruto's attack. Would you look at that? How come I didn't think of that? Naruto thought before he said to Gaara, Chemistry 101. What happens when you superheat sand? Gaara's eyes twitched at the comment but ignored it as he felt his mother yelling with excitement in his head as he tried to spill Naruto's blood to prove his existence. Gaara sent his hand towards Naruto once again. I wonder what he can do once his sand is gone. Naruto thought as he thought about it. Since Gaara always carried that god with him, so he should be limited to that amount. So Naruto could use his flame style to disintegrate or turn it into glass his sand until he runs out. Naruto once again disappeared in a show speed and reappeared right behind Gaara, surprising and making his sand unable to come to his defense. Kite Lighting Style, Lightning Fist, Naruto called out. Naruto channeled the lightning chakra to his hand and delivered a massive punch to Gaara's chest, completely destroying his sand armor and managing to wound Gaara to the point he almost broke one of his ribs. Crowd, Gaara got hit hard. Tamari said during her short life she never seen anyone manage to touch or even wound Gaara with the exception of Naruto, who somehow always managed to sneak through his defenses. He did it during the preliminaries and he is doing it again now. This is bad, Tamari Kankaro said. I know, Tamari replied. He might unleash it before the sound gives the signal. Kankaro said, but they couldn't do anything but to watch as their brother was turned into a punching bag. Wow, look at him go, Ino said. She could barely keep up with Naruto's speed. Naruto who still had his weights on, but he was pumping his leg with chakra and was going too fast for most Ken to track. After all, only speed could best Gaara's sand defense. Arena, Fire Style, Great Fireball Jutsu. Naruto said and exploded a fireball of gigantic proportion. It quickly collided with the sand waves that were coming towards Naruto and transformed into class. Naruto quickly dashed to the glass and gave it a hard punch, completely shattering it. Naruto was about to unleash another jutsu when Sand her arms rose from underneath the ground and trapped Naruto by his ankles. Die! Gaara yelled as Naruto was quickly enveloped in sand. Sand! Coffin! Gaara said, and Naruto was completely covered in sand to the point he wasn't even visible to anyone. Sand funeral, Gaara said as he as he increased his sand coughing, completely crushing Naruto. Yes, I have proved my existence, Gaara said, laughing evilly as smiling caused his biggest foe in as crushed his biggest foe in his sand, spilling his blood to his mother. Naruto! Kurona yelled from the balcony. Aside from her, everyone was silent, waiting for something to happen. Everyone was frozen in complete silence when Naruto's voice erupted from within the sand. Really, Gaara? You know I am better than this. Gaara's eyes widened in shock as he watched Naruto very calmly walk out of the sand prison. The sand didn't even move as Naruto walked out, as if Naruto was nothing more than a ghost or the basic push and clone jutsu. It is time I got rid of your sand, Naruto said before he made two shadow clones, each one taking Naruto's side, one on the left side and the other on the right. All three Narutos move in perfect harmony. Fire style, great fireball, great dragon fire jutsu, great dragon fireball fire jutsu. The clone said before exhaling a massive torrent of fire towards Gaara. This technique was a D rank on, and then the improved version of the improved version of the normal dragon fire on Queen style breakthrough. The original Naruto said before the middle of the clones and sent a gust of wind that mixed with the fire and created what could only be described as an inferno. Gaara stood in shock as he watched the fire come closer and closer towards him. The technique had a very long reach and seemed to be really pumped with chakra. Sand shield, Gaara said, and all of his sand left his gourd and surrounded Gaara, making a rather thin protective shell. It seemed that Gaara already lost quite a bit of sand to Naruto's previous attacks. The fire clashed with the shield and Gaara disappeared from the audience view as they could only see a torrent of fire completely enveloping Gaara. Naruto ran out of air in his lungs and dropped his technique to see Gaara smiling inside a glass dome. Gaara quickly shattered the glass and eyed the blonde. What can you do now without sand? Naruto asked. Fool! Gaara said before going through Hansel's sand rain. Gaara said, and strangely enough, it started raining. However, instead of water, it started raining sand and a good deal of it. I can easily create a new sand by compressing the minerals underground as well. And as long as I have sand, I can do anything. Gaara said before restocking his supplies of sand and preparing the restart of his attacks. Looks like destroying the sand is useless, Naruto thought, sighing as he realized all that work was for nothing. Kagebox, they are very skilled, the Raikage commented, but the Uzumaki brat seemed to be in a pickle. The Raikage said, what makes you think that? The Hokage asked, confused. From the battle, I noticed he tried to destroy the sand, but it seems that the sand brat can create more. The Raikage said, and they both turned to the Kazekage for an explanation. After all, the supposed fourth Kazekage was known for using his gold dust. It would be very dangerous problem if we ran out of sand, so we had to find new ways to create it on the spot. The Kazekage explained. Interesting, the Raikage said. The amount of skill and jutsu they are throwing easily puts them in Jonin level in ninjutsu. The Kazekage said. It was expected from Jinchurikis. The Raikage said yes. The Hokage agreed. Crowd, how can they be so strong? Kiba asked. He didn't understand. He was from a clan. He trained every day and while he was ranked in the top during the academy days. Naruto had to grow up fast so he could shield himself from the hate he received. Kakashi explained. Besides, from what I understand, he read almost the entire library of Konoha. Kakashi said, and everyone had their eyes widened to the size of dinner plates. How is that even possible? Sakura asked. After all, Sakura was known by her book smarts. Simple, the Sharingan provides the user with photographic memory, and Naruto can make hundreds of shadow clones. Kakashi explained. What do clones have to do with everything? Ino asked. Shadow clones are special. When they dispel everything that the clone learned is transmitted to the user. The shadow clone was originally created for scouting. Kakashi explained that. Oh, that's amazing. Sakura said she understood very well the ramification of Seijutsu. How come they don't teach us that in the academy? It sounds like a perfect jutsu. Sakura asked. Because it's a forbidden jutsu, Kakashi explained, and a few shivered at the thought of forbidden. The shadow clone takes great amount of chakra to perform for most creating a single shadow clone can kill the user. Even me, who has chakra levels bordering on Kage level, can only create about 20 without suffering chakra exhaustion. Kakashi said. How in the hell can Naruto create so many? Kiba asked. Naruto was the more chakra. Naruto has more chakra than anyone in the village. I estimate he has around 4 to 5 times the amount of the Hokage and keeps increasing. Kakashi explained with a bit of pride. How in the world is that possible? Sakura asked. They were now understanding just how powerful Naruto really was. Two reasons. He has so much chakra because he's an Uzumaki who were known to have massive chakra reserves. An ordinary Chunin had much chakra as a Kage. And the second reason is because he is a Jinchuriki. The Jinchurikis tend to develop large chakra reserves due to having the Vishnu chakra running through their coils. Put those two together and you have a chakra monster. Kakashi explained. Amazing, Sakura said, amazed by Naruto once again. That's pretty much it. I have really seen Naruto run out of chakra. I was already on the ground panting and Naruto wasn't even sweating. Hinata said. Suddenly another person walked into the middle of the crowd and was the one and the only Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke-kun, Sakura said, smiling in her traditional way. Her respect for Naruto may have increased, but she still remained faithful to the Uchiha. How are you feeling, Sasuke? Kakashi asked, but the scowl on Sasuke's face told him everything. You knew, didn't you? Sasuke asked almost rhetorically. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Kakashi practically said. Then why didn't you say anything? Then Sasuke said, yelling, because he asked me not to, and I wasn't going to betray a promise to someone no matter what. Besides, I did tell you, you knew his bloodline was as well as you know your own. Kakashi said, and Sasuke scoffed. What was one of what was one of the first things I taught you? Kakashi said, but Sasuke remained silent until Kakashi said, always look underneath. Sasuke simply crossed his arms and started cursing mentally at his sensei. This is bad, Gaara said. This is the end, Gaara said before going through the hand seals. Sand tsunami, Gaara called out, and a gigantic wave of sand erupted in front of him, going towards Naruto at high speeds. The wall of sand had the height of the arena walls and covered its entire wide width, leaving no room for its evasion. It was a few seconds before the entire arena was covered in sand. Even the proctor had to leave the arena ground and made his way towards the crowd, as it seemed the safest place to be. Naruto was nowhere to be seen, and Gaara thought his plan worked, and Naruto was trapped beneath all that sand was trapped beneath all that sand. Grand sand grand sand barrier, Kara said, and slammed both of his hands onto the ground and shockwaves erupted from his palms and spread it through the whole arena, shaking it. You are weak, Uzumaki, Gara said, taking a few deep breaths. His sand may be his absolute defense, and best weapon, but pulling such a amount was rather chakra consuming. I told you not to underestimate me. Naruto's voice echoed through the whole arena like someone disembodied for some disembodied body voice. Gaara was in shock as he watched Naruto swirling into appearance in front of him. The swirling seemed to be originating from his eyes. It was only a couple of seconds before Naruto was standing in front of him unharmed. What in the world was that? The Kazekage said, shocked. That technique seemed like Genju's space-time ninjutsu. The blonde brat seemed to materialize himself on the arena. It looks like someone from some of your time space-time ninjutsu. The Raikage thought out loud with his hands on his chin. Jiraiya Tono. The Raikage said, looking at the tortoise, "You seem to always teach someone with talent for space-time ninjutsu." The Raikage said, "Don't look at me. I didn't teach him that." Jiraiya said, waving his hand around. And that particular technique seems strong, as he didn't do any hand seals. The Raikage said, what is it with blonde and space-time ninjutsu?" The Raikage wondered out loud, making the Hokage chuckle. The arena. Naruto was running full speed with his gravity skills still on, as he saw no need to disable them. He was running, and the sand was immediately after him, trying to stop him from reaching Gaara, at that same time trying to kill him once and for all. Naruto easily approached Gaara and channeled lightning chakra to his fist and feet. He started his onslaught on Gaara. He started his onslaught on Gaara. He threw a right hook and it hit Gaara perfectly, destroying his sand armor. Almost immediately, Gaara sent right to catch him, but only phased right through Naruto as he continued his attack at Gaara. "What is going on?" Gaara asked in thought. He didn't understand. The sand wasn't able to grab hold of Naruto, and yet he continued to punch him like no tomorrow. Gaara was reduced to a mere punching bag. Naruto was again ready to launch the next round of attack. Naruto bypassed the sand and slid right under Gaara and gave him a kick in the shin, sending him to the air. Naruto quickly disappeared in a burst of speed and appeared right behind Gaara in the air and gave him a drop kick filled with lightning chakra that completely destroyed his sand armor and sent him to the ground hard. Gaara hit the ground and everyone could hear the crack of a few bones. It was loud and clearly that Gaara wasn't going to win this match. Naruto landed on the ground and jumped back a few feet so he could watch the state of Gaara as the cloud of dust was settling. The dust cleared and everyone could see Gaara slowly rising from the sand, swirling around him and reforming his sand armor around his skin. Gaara Hekara's hand took the hand seals of Tiger, and the release of the sand started enveloping itself around him, forcing a solid cocoon of hardened cocoon of hardened sand. A few seconds later, a little bit of sand started gathering at a few feet above the ground and started taking the form of a small spear. Moments later, the sand stopped and became a perfect eye that seemed to be watching Naruto while Gaara was inside the cocoon, going through hands used slowly while saying them out loud. He is completely sealed off, Naruto thought out loud as he was considering what to do in order to reach the sand cocoon. Naruto decided not to waste chakra. It's not as if he was already low, but no other weapons are still good. You can't always rely in ninjutsu on ninjutsu after all. Naruto was calmly walking towards the cocoon and whistling along the way. He arrived near the cocoon and suddenly sand spears shot from the ball and tried to pierce the blonde but he continued walking as if it was nothing, and yet the spear looked embedded deep into spear de- em- looked embedded deep into in Naruto. Naruto arrived near the cocoon and calmly went in the pocket and took two explosive tags and took two explosive tag. He placed them in his right hand and slipped right through the cocoon using his kamui. Sand or no sand, it didn't matter what it was. Naruto's kamui is a space-time ninjutsu and as such it isn't limited to such an object. Naruto's arm reached the inside and reached and released both tags and walked back with a calmly into the world. When he was about 10 feet away from the sand ball, he did a half tiger seal and with his right hand and said, "Kai, release." As he said that, the tag inside the cocoon suddenly exploded, but cocoon remained. But nobody could see the bug in the sand sphere due to the explosion. And since Gaara was inside, the explosion couldn't leave. There wasn't much place to run or protect himself with Gaara, making Gaara take the full force of the explosion. A few seconds after the explosion, the sand that made the cocoon started to shake and fall to the ground, revealing a slightly mattered, matured Kara. His right arm was completely disproportional and was made entirely of sand. Gara also had a tail on his back, and half of his face was sand, with his right eyes being Shukaku's. All in all, it was a partial transformation of Gara's bijou. Make me feel alive, Uzumaki! Gara yelled as he slightly moved to test his new appearance. There was no sand on the ground as in his gourd as it was used for his partial transformation, so the lack of sand would be a plus. I guess it's time I pull it off, Naruto thought before channeling chakra to his storage shield with wristband on his wrist. and pulled his favorite weapon, cling. The weapon sound as Naruto grabbed it by the handle with his right hand and released it onto the ground. It was a white fan with three blood-red tumors on each side. It had a long handle with bandages wrapped around the base. The main part of the weapon was light brown with the edges being black. Clang! The weapon sounded as Naruto grabbed it by the hilt with his right hand and rested it in on the ground. It was a white fan with three blood-red tumors on each side. It had a long handle with bandage wrapped around the base. The main part of the weapon was light brown with the edges being black. Flashback. Naruto was 9 years old and was exploring his true house, the Namikaze compound, if you could call it that. In fact, it was a fairly big house built for harboring a medium family or a couple intending intending to build one. Naruto was looking through the various rooms around the house and started going down the stairs into the basement. When he arrived, he saw a lot of weapons, swords, shurikens, daggers, uh, hundreds of three-pronged kunais, but from all of that, while only there was one weapon that was standing out of all of them. Kurama, who was looking through his vessel's eyes, immediately recognized it. Holy shit! Kurama said out loud, making Naruto jump from the sudden sound spike. Damn! Naruto said, nursing his head. Keep it down, Naruto said. Do you even know what that weapon is? Kurama asked. Naruto knew exactly what that weapon was, but he didn't seem too practically surprised by it. After all, his grandfather was known for using it quite extensively during his time. There, hanged on the wall, was Uchiha Madara's Gum, Gumbai battle fan. It was my grandfather's trademark weapon. So what? Naruto asked, clearly not understanding what he had. You fool! That is no ordinary weapon, Kurama said, and seeing Naruto confused face, he decided to elaborate it. Just listen, Kurama said and entered his lecture mode. You know the legendary legend of the Sage of Six Paths, right? I did tell you about him a couple months ago, Kurama asked. Yes, I remember, Naruto replied. My father, a sage of six paths, as you know, had special eyes, known as the Renegon, the eye of the gods. He used the power of his eyes extensively during his lifespan. During his life, he created the nine bijus that we call that's why we call him father. Understand so far? Kurama and Naruto nodded. However, that wasn't the only thing he created. During his life, Sage of Sixpack created a special set of tools and weapons he used. In total, there were six tools, and that particular fan is one of them. Kurama said, and Naruto's eyes widened. I see, you understand the implications. For starters, those weapons are several times more powerful than any other. You cannot even compare them. Moreover, there is a downfall in those weapons. Anyone other than a direct descendant of my father, that is a Senju or a pure-blooded Uchiha, those weapons require massive amounts of chakra to use and would kill a regular human just by them lifting the weapon. Kurama said, finishing his explanation. Awesome! Naruto said, his eyes wide as he eyed the weapon. He could definitely learn how to use it properly. Since I am a pure-blooded Uchiha, I can use it without that heavy chakra uses, right? Naruto asked. Yes, I also forgot to mention that those weapons are pretty much indestructible, as they are made of special material that my father himself created. Naruto hesitantly placed his right hand on the hilt and lifted the weapon from the all holding it. It seemed as though it was made of metal. It wasn't particularly heavy, and it isn't a very draining Naruto of chakra. It wasn't even draining Naruto of chakra. Obviously, it's not gonna drain his chakra. He's both a Senju and a Uchiha in this motif. For now, it seemed as nothing more than an ordinary weapon. As Naruto removed the fan from the wall, a piece of paper fell to the ground. Naruto bent over and picked it up. There was a letter in it. Minato, it's good to see that you are still alive and well. I heard you are making quite a name for yourself. I guess you will be next in line for the Hokage position. I'm proud of you. I have sent you my favorite weapon as a gift since there is no Uchiha alive that can wield it properly besides you and me. Also, my time is nearing its end. Use it if you wish, but I guess that with me being your father, it would destroy your credibility if word leaked out. A word of warning. I still intend to bring peace to this world, and I hope we don't face each other in the opposite path. Good luck in your future and never forget your origin. Your father, Madara Uchiha. Naruto reread the letter several times and still had trouble believing that it was a congratulation letter of some sort of from Madara to his son. Would you look at this? Naruto said out loud, but nobody was listening except Kurama. I may hate Madara for controlling me, but I guess in the end he still cared for his family, even though he clearly warned him. Kurama said as his respect for Madara grew a little bit. He was still despite him, but at least he didn't forget his family. To foxes, there wasn't anyone more terrible and demeaning than avenging your own kin. Do you think you would Do you think he would hurt his own son to achieve his goal? Naruto asked. How should I know? I don't it's not like I know matter on a personal level. Kurama replied, at least let's try to bring peace to the world. That can be a bad thing. Naruto muttered out loud. He said his time was short, so I guess he is truly dead. Naruto asked as he picked up the weapon and left the letter in the same place. It was the only thing he had that truly connected to him to his grandfather, I suppose. Kurama said, flashback and Kage, is that the Kazekage asked when he noticed the weapon Naruto had pulled out of his storage seal. There is Naruto's hand was the one and the only war fan used by Madara Uchiha. It is Uchiha Madara's war fan. To think I would see it again. The Hokage said, shocked at that Naruto was in possession of the said weapon. He knew very well that weapon since it was created by the Sage of Six Paths and that is was was a powerful tool. I guess he was telling the truth. He really is Madara's grandson to be wielding his legendary Gubai war fan. The Raikage commented Kumo had gathered all the Sage of Six Paths tools and they thought they had them all, but they didn't know that his fan was one of them as well. The brat really is a gold mine, Orochimaru thought, shivering at everything he learned, salivating at everything he learned today. Let's see if he can use it properly. The Raikage said he knew a lot about Uchiha Madara. All the man was legend and hailed as one of the strongest shinobi to ever exist, being defeated only by Hashirama Senju. Even to this day, both of them are claimed to be something above shinobi, as even their more skilled ones couldn't even compete against such foes. Coward crowd. Impossible! Sasuke said out loud as he watched Naruto grip Madara's war fan. Looks like Naruto was telling the truth. He really is Madara's grandson. It matters not. No one will stand in my way, Sasuke thought. What is so special about that fan? Sakura asked. She didn't know why that fan provoked such a reaction from Sasuke. Well, it isn't exactly taught in the academy, but that weapon is very well known among the older population. The weapon was Madara Uchiha's trademark weapon. He used it to blow away shinobi by creating powerful gust of wind. It may have other powers, but I only heard of that one. He also used it to power up his fire attacks to the point he could unleash a true inferno onto his enemies. Kakashi explained and Sasuke seethed his teeth. The weapon should be in Sasuke's hands so he could defeat his brother. Unbelievable, Sakura said. Naruto seemed to be an endless bit of surprises. Where did he get it? I know from history that Madara left the village, Sakura asked. That I don't know, Kakashi replied while eyeing Hinata. Hinata sighed before she started explaining. It seemed that today she was the narrator in Naruto's story. It was a gift from Madara sent to his son and Naruto's father. Hinata briefly explained, not wanting to go into much detail. He had it all this time, Kakashi asked, with no one with eyes widened. And he never in a million of years would have thought his sensei had possessed such a weapon. He had been to his house several times but never saw it. He he never actually went to the basement for that fact. I don't know what else to expect from that brat. Zabuza said chuckling. He could never figure out that brat no matter how hard he tried. I am sort of glad I didn't join this year's Chunin exam. I don't think I would stand a chance against such powerful opponents, Haku explained. Don't sell yourself short, Haku. You are very strong, Zabuza said. Thank you, Zabuza-san. Haku replied, Arena, let me show you the true power. No borrowed power, just me. Naruto started out loud as he grabbed his fan and fan became stronger. Sand and Bullet, the transformed Gara said, and from his new sand body exploded a dozen of small spheres of sand that went towards Naruto with ground-breaking speeds. Naruto, using his Sharingan, calculated the bullet's path and with a single swing of his fan, he completely destroyed the bullet, having no evasion of it. Evidence of it. Naruto quickly made a single hand seals that he learned from Haku and perfected by using them in conjunction with his Guven as his fan occupied his right hand. Fire Dragon Bullet, Naruto called out and unleashed a massive torrent of white flames towards Gaara. Naruto, as he was unleashing his fire, was swinging his fan and said, "Food and wind style, great breakthrough," and a powerful gust of wind emerged from his fan, powering his flames. That was Naruto's most powerful fire attack, and a rank attack. However, this attack was powered by the fan's wind, easily making it jump to S rank. Gaara coiled himself with his tails protecting his head and was engulfed in the flame, completely disappearing from view. Many people in the crowd, even some of the shinobi, had to protect their eyes and avoid their faces from being avert their faces from the arena due to the amount of heat and light being generated from Naruto's attack. The proctor was considering if he would come out alive, and he wasn't. even fighting. He was more concerned in running for his life, trying to get out of the way of the flames that seemed to envelop the whole arena. Enough! Gara yelled and unleashed a roar that dispelled the flames around him, releasing a scorch Gara out, but otherwise okay. But it seemed that sand powered by Shukaku's chakra made it unable to transform into glass and be destroyed. Gaara dashed towards Naruto, coiling ma- ma- his matured right arm trying to punch Naruto. Naruto channeled chakra to his fan and a semi-transparent a circular barrier appeared in mid-air. Gaara's right arm connected with the barrier and a shockwave erupted, but the barrier didn't even wave or crack, and Gaara recoiled as his arm in pain. Infinity Sand, great breakthrough. Gara said before multiple mounts of from all over his body taking air in. They all they all breathed out at the same time and unleashed a powerful gust of wind filled with sand. Naruto pumped chakra into his fan and swung it. Naruto created an equal powerful gust of wind that neglected Gaara's attack. Naruto placed his fan on his back and scared it with the chakra, so he secured it with chakra so it wouldn't slide off. Naruto immediately dashed towards Gaara, and everyone could hear electricity crackling in his hand as it sounded even stronger than the ordinary Chidori. Gaara brought his to try and hit Naruto to disband his attack, but that didn't work as Gaara wanted it to. Raikiri, Naruto yelled and instantly his right hand with light electricity chakra, he continued his path towards Gaara, completely trancing through his arm and shoving his Raikiri through Gaara's right shoulder, making him cry in pain as blood splattered onto the ground. Crowd. Looks like Naruto can use the fan rather well, Zabuza said as he watched Naruto powering his flames using wind created by his fan and also creating some sort of shield to block Gaara's punch. Yes, apparently that fan or me has more powers than that I didn't know. Kakashi mastered out loud as he watched the battle unfold. They watched the battle unfold when Naruto placed his fan on his back, and they heard a similar Chidori squealing like the Chidori. What's that? Sasuke asked as he had his Sharingan activated and tried to copy Naruto's technique. It looks like the Chidori Sasuke started. That's the upgraded version of Chidori, Kakashi flatly said. What? There is a stronger version. Why didn't you teach me that? One instant. Sasuke asked a demanding answer. The Raikiri is an S-rank technique. You can only do the normal Chidori twice a day, and the Raikiri takes the same amount to perform, meaning you might not have enough chakra to perform it. Kakashi explained and Sasuke scoffed. How the hell does Naruto has so more chakra than me? During our fight he used a lot of jutsus, and look at him throwing jutsus like shurikens. How can he have so much? Sasuke asked, almost yelling. You can call it the Kage Kekkei. You can call it the Kekkei of the Uzumaki clan. Their members are born with unusually large chakra reserves, and ordinary Chunin has the chakra that can rival Kage levels. Kakashi explained and Sasuke scoffed. If I told him he was a Senju, Sasuke would most likely faint. A Senju using the Sharingan? Ironic, Kakashi thought. So, he has two Kekkei, Sakura asked. The chakra receives and considered a Kekigenkai. The chakra reserves and considered a Kekigenkai, so he only has the Sharingan. Kakashi explained and Sakura muttered something about lucky dopes. Sasuke. Sorry, not Sakura, Sasuke. I don't think this can be considered an ordinary Chunin exams. The guy like Hage started out loud. The amount of skill being used usually place them in Jonin level 2. Their skill is far beyond the regular Genin or Chunin for that matter. The Hokage agreed, and by the looks of it, it really is Madra's war fan by seeing the amount of power he is using. The Raikage commented with his hand on his chin. The Kazekage kept silent through the whole conversation and was considering when to to the beginning of the invasion, since Gaara seemed to be in particularly partial transformation and could at any time unleash the full Biju. Arena blood. It's my blood. Blood! It's my blood! Gaara screamed in pain as he felt for the first time in a while life that warmth of his blood. Suddenly the sand around rose to the sky and exploded into smoke. When the smoke cleared, it showed a 80-foot tall and sand tanuki with one tail. It was a fully released Ichibi, as we know as Shukaku. Naruto watched as the tanuki in front of him very carefully. Suddenly, all around the arena, it started peeling other feathers from the sky. So it begins. Then Naruto thought as he placed his hands in the ram seals as hand sealed and said, "Kai, release," breaking the illusion. The invasion has begun, Naruto said as he prepared himself to face the fully unleashed Shukaku. That's all for part 23 of Legacy, a Clash of Titans. If you wanna be notified for future parts and other what if and fan fiction reading, then the best way is by subscribing. That's all for this video. I have to see you in the next one. Bye bye.